Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Glad that you could join us on the program. Rare diseases affect about 30 million folks here in the United States alone. Now, this equates to about 10% of the U.S. population. Still, due to the obscurity of these diseases, they can take years and years to be accurately diagnosed. Our guest is Angel Mayall. She's a caregiver featured in a brand new book, Living a Rare Life. I'll let her tell us all about why she's here to talk about one rare disease, very rare disease that affected her family. Welcome to the program, Angel.
Thank you, Neil, for having me.
Glad that you could take the time. A little bit of background about yourself. What do you do and where do you do it?
Well, originally I'm a network engineer. I work at a college, but really my passion is being a caregiver to my large family who has been diagnosed with hATTR amyloidosis. They were diagnosed a couple of generations ago when information was scarce and we weren't able to tap into a lot of resources, which is why we really wanted to partner with Alnylam to bring together a book like Living a Rare Life so that we could help other families possibly going through the same thing. It affects the TTR protein that is made in the liver, and it deposits in nerves and other body organs.
And some of the symptoms I do understand are some severe pain. What are some of the others?
So my family, it's been pretty prevalent with tingling, burning, and numbness in the hands and feet, heart trouble standing up, getting dizzy, and then pretty much it progresses to the inability to walk.
You're the caregiver to a large family. Is everyone in your family affected directly by this disease being a hereditary disease, or is it something that some are living with and others are maybe waiting to deal with or not?
Well, that's actually part of the caregiver aspect. So it's, you have a 50-50 chance of getting the gene that produces this disease. And then some people range from very little symptoms to very extreme symptoms. So it's about managing the family tree, knowing your genealogy, kind of knowing where that gene has progressed throughout our tree so that we can notify the next generation of who needs to be tested, who's okay, stuff of that nature.
Now, you talked about very little knowledge about the disease when it began to affect you. You lost some family members due to misdiagnosis or just non-diagnosis at all?
Yeah. My great-grandmother had this disease and her dad before him, and nobody really knew what it was. So when my grandpa and his brothers started getting sick, my Uncle Melvin really kind of took up the charge, my great-uncle Melvin, to bring about, what is this? What is our family suffering throughout the generations? When asking my grandfather when I was young about what was going on, he just said, that's what happened in our family. We call it the curse. Unfortunately, my Uncle Melvin passed away prior to the official diagnosis coming, but he really, spearheaded that effort for our family to put a name to it so we could begin tackling it.
What was it that inspired you and I guess your family to be on board with sharing your story in Living the Rare Life?
I feel like it's so important to help others on their journey with hATTR amyloidosis and their diagnosis. Recently, we met a gentleman that has no history or knowledge of hATTR amyloidosis in his family at all. So being able to provide some of this information to people like him that don't know what's coming, they don't know what's on the horizon, and being able to get that out there for people is a huge passion of mine. So,
is this something that doesn't present until later in life when you're older, or is it something that can present at any time during a person's life, being hereditary?
Well, it typically presents in my family. You start seeing the side effects about 40, 45. But unfortunately, the gene causes the protein to misfold starting late 20s, early 30s. It just takes that long for the amyloid to build up in the organs to begin affecting them.
Now, you did team up with Alnylam. Talk about your relationship with them and this initiative and resources for patients and their families that you're also involved in.
They have been phenomenal lifesavers, even, because communication is so important. I can't stress that enough. Communication inside our own family, communication outside to our providers, our healthcare providers, to other families, no comparison. And Alnylam has really, really given us the opportunity to share that. So it's absolutely wonderful.
Now, this Bridge the Gap initiative, what exactly does it entail? I mean, it obviously some education about this rare condition. What about some support resources? Are those involved in this initiative as well?
Absolutely. I mean, you can always talk to your local healthcare provider, but there's amyloid centers across the United States that have really, stepped up and started beginning treatments and, trying to manage symptoms for patients, which is...
Are you involved in training other family members, not just educating them about what's going on in your family, but being able to help other family members as the generations progress?
Absolutely. I'm pretty much the first line of defense. I do a lot of, mundane stuff like spreadsheeting and stuff like that to track this gene throughout our family so that as the next generation comes up, they can be aware. My mom and her generation are now starting to come down with the symptoms and various stages of progression. So it's really important for me to make sure my cousins know what to expect, testing options, stuff of that nature.
Now, where can we go and learn some more about this condition?
Well, you can go on the website, hatttrbridge.com. You can download our family's journey through this process, Living a Rare Life. And there's also some other great, phenomenal resources out there.
Some great information. Thank you for joining us today on the program. Angel Mail, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.